We've all heard the story of Faust, right? The brilliant scholar who sells his soul to the devil. But to really get what's going on in that story, we can't just look at the man. We have to look at the world that made him. Because the real trap, it wasn't just the deal he signed. It was the world that pushed him, cornered him, and made that deal seem like his only way out.
See, there's a reason this story is set in Reformation Germany. It's not just for historical flavor. It's not just window dressing. As one of our sources so perfectly puts it, this setting is an amplifier. It takes all the fears, all the pride, all the anxieties brewing inside a person and just cranks the volume up to 11.
So to see how this all works, we've got to start with the environment itself. This whole era was basically a psychological pressure cooker, a crucible of faith that created the absolute perfect conditions for a soul to just completely shatter.
Just look at this. Reformation Germany was volatile. This wasn't just a time of new ideas flying around. It was an age of massive theological and social upheaval, a true perfect storm of spirit and psyche. The old rules were breaking down, the ground was shifting under everyone's feet, and every single soul was left in what our sources call severe spiritual peril.
Okay, to really get a feel for this, let's use an analogy. I want you to imagine this entire world as a deep-sea pressure chamber, an environment where there is this immense, crushing external force being applied to every single person inside.
And that pressure was coming from two directions at once. First, you had this unbelievable high-stakes anxiety. A constant, obsessive cultural focus on eternal judgment. Am I saved? Am I damned? It was the only question that mattered. And at the same time, you had the monolithic authority of the church, with its rigid rules, making the average person feel utterly powerless. These are the two forces just squeezing in on everyone.
All right, so we've got our pressure chamber. Now, let's look at the person trapped inside it. We'll call him the diver. And he isn't just any guy, he is, for all intents and purposes, the perfect mark. He's been primed specifically for this kind of spiritual attack. Our sources actually have a name for this archetype, the Rasputin Blueprint. This isn't just some bookworm. He's often a charismatic mystic, maybe a disillusioned cleric. And he's defined by this incredibly dangerous, volatile mix. On the one hand, massive intellectual pride, and on the other, a truly deep, gnawing existential fear. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. In his head, you've got this burning intellectual pride, this desire to know everything, to break past human limits. But in his heart, there's that crippling dread, that terror of damnation that his entire culture is feeding him. This perfect internal schism means he's already broken in two long before the devil even comes knocking.
So, what do you have? A high-pressure environment and a psychologically fractured target. This is where the predator comes in. And here's the key. Mephistopheles doesn't create the despair. He just shows up to exploit it with an offer that is tailor-made for our guy.
Let's go right back to our analogy. Mephistopheles doesn't build the pressure chamber. No, he's much smarter than that. He just appears outside the porthole, sees the diver suffering inside, and offers what looks like the simplest way out. He's not creating the wound. He's performing psychological surgery on one that's already there.
His attack comes in two parts. The first one is aimed squarely at the scholar's pride. He offers Gnostic certainty. What's that? It's the promise of forbidden knowledge. Not just faith, but the absolute, definitive knowing of all of creation's secrets. It's the ultimate ego trip. The second attack vector targets his fear. Our scholar feels crushed, right? By the church, by his own mortality. So, Mephistopheles offers him the illusion of freedom, a life of power, of pleasure, completely unbound by the rules of God or man. It sounds like the perfect cure for his feeling of powerlessness.
And here is the absolute genius of the trap. The two offers, they work together in perfect harmony. Gnostic certainty promises freedom from doubt. Unrestricted freedom promises freedom from authority. For a man who is being eaten alive by both intellectual pride and existential fear, this two-pronged assault is, well, it's an irresistible proposition.
So, this irresistible offer leads to the diabolical pact. But this is no handshake deal. It's framed like a formal, binding contract. In our analogy, this is the moment our diver decides he's going to open the hatch.
And this pact is structured exactly like a predatory loan. Think about it. Step 1, the principle. You get a finite, limited time of power and knowledge. Step 2, the collateral. What's the price? Oh, just the complete and irreversible surrender of your immortal soul. And step 3, the kicker, the inevitable default. The whole deal is rigged from the very beginning so that the borrower has zero chance of winning.
This image of the scales just nails it. It shows the catastrophic imbalance at the heart of this whole thing. On one side, you've got a temporary, finite gain. On the other, an infinite, eternal loss. And that shocking inequality, that's the whole point of the story.
And the signature in blood, that's the climax. That's the point of no return. It's the symbol of a conscious, deliberate choice to trade away messy, uncertain faith for what looks like cold, hard certainty. It's the moment he finally turns the handle and opens the hatch.
So what happens when you're at the bottom of the ocean and you open the hatch, promised fresh air and freedom? You don't get freedom. You get catastrophic, instantaneous decompression. And the foreclosure on this spiritual loan is just as fast and just as final.
Just like with any predatory loan, the outcome was baked in from the start. The debt comes due, the tragic foreclosure happens, and that brief illusion of freedom, it's gone, replaced by the cold reality of eternal servitude. The very thing he was trying to escape, powerlessness, is now his permanent home.
So that brings us to the complete anatomy of how this works. It all starts with the environment, that pressure cooker of Reformation Germany. That environment shapes the perfect target, a proud but fearful scholar. The predator, a brilliant psychological opportunist, then presents the bait, custom-made offers of certainty and freedom. This leads to the trap, signing the predatory loan. And finally, the end, an inevitable foreclosure that serves as one of history's greatest warnings.
What this all teaches us is that the most dangerous devil isn't the one who offers you the entire world. It's the one who sees the very specific, secret lock on your soul and hands you the perfect key. The most effective temptation is that key. The only question left is, what does it unlock for you?